playing with a pencil. So, Coach Helen for YouFit Studio, talking about eating like your gender. Now, earlier, annoyingly, I was trying to find the text that I actually got a lot of this from, and I appear to have tidied far too efficiently because I couldn't find it, which is irritating because it's actually a very good book. My fear is I've lent it somewhere and I can't remember quite where I've lent it to. However, I'm going to use some of the stuff that's in this text, and actually from some observations as well. And when I start to talk about this stuff, actually, when I first started to pay attention to this and think about myself and my eating behaviours, I was quite fascinated actually, because you start to observe and see it in other people. And by that I mean male and female, and it's really quite a fascinating thing. And where it comes from, I do not know. I probably do. I do think, like most things, it probably comes from a learnt behaviour or a learnt expectation, which is true of most things in life, I think. When I'm talking about eating like your gender, okay, what I mean is that there's an expected eating pattern that seems to be attached to biological gender in a certain amount of cases, shall we say. Now, like everything in life, I will say there's some always outliers to this observation, right? It's not a hard and fast rule. There is, however, kind of an area of this which I find fascinating, and this one, as I said, it might cause some contention. I'm not actually quite sure. When I was actually writing out the plan, I was like, how will people take this? Will they agree or disagree? And feel free to discuss it if you do or don't. I think one of the things that when I was reading this text, and I wish for the life of me I had it so I could remember what it was called, and B, just clarify where I got the idea from. So the text was actually about men and eating behaviours and what they get associated to. However, when I was thinking about it, I could flip it and say it works for both men and women about expected behaviours. Now, if I take female expected behaviour when it comes to food, and this is, for life of me again, I'm trying to remember where this saying comes from or what it is. It's the idea of women eating like a bird, right? And if you don't know what I mean by that, feel free to do one of these. I don't know to get it. And by that I mean it seemed to be, observationally, my opinion, the expectation that a woman will eat like a bird, as in small, ideally a salad, probably is quite an expected behaviour. Pick at food, as in eat small, dainty, ladylike fashion, not to overeat in public. Key point. Not to overeat in public. Appear to be, I don't know, a lady, I guess. And I'm making very super. This is what I'm waiting for somebody to go, how dare you? However, there is actually a collective expectation around that. Now, when it comes to women, that expectation of eating in a small fashion or like a lady, or like their gender, however we want to put it, it often leads to some other behaviours. So when I said eating small in public, what I also tend to observe or have seen is then eating large in private, so secret eating. And because often it is actually so small, it's like I always talk about the nasty ass salad. However, that is often what you see. You see small meals in public. No, I know, Kate, but there's always outliers. We know this. Small in public and in private, potentially overeating or eating larger portions. As a male, if you flip it, the expected behaviours of a male is to eat large meals, to overeat, to generally eat large portions. It's like an expected behaviour to go large in every meal, and then in over consuming calories. So this, when I say eating like your gender, this is potentially the expectation that I have seen and observed in a lot of behaviours. And it, actually, when you start to observe it in others, it's actually quite fascinating. Now, whilst we are kind of diversifying a little bit, I think, over the last few years, and some of that is changing, the result is that a lot of people, or some people still, do not want to break out of those expected behaviours, as in they, I want to say that's what I want to say. They conform. They conform to those expected behaviours because actually with it there's a fear of being judged by others if they eat unexpectedly. This is making again an extreme situation to some degree. Take a what's perceived to be a very feminine lady and where she's normally just eating daily food, and then give her a massive burger that she can pick up with her hands and everything. The fear is that individual, even if she might want to do that, is going to be like, feel that she's going to be judged by behaving in a certain way around food, and behaving in a certain way that is different to her expected biological gender. Now, this might seem like random stuff, and actually to some degree it is quite an outside way of looking at it. However, this text really explored it. Same way that a male would generally order the burger and might be judged by his friends, or we'll call it banter, if he chose that they all ordered a steak or a burger and he chose a salad, right? Even it is an option that secret he may want to make because he wants to improve his health. Actually, being in that environment, he will make choices that will take him away from his health. A prime example of this is a client I have that goes to a sports team, and they meet once a week. And for him, a lot of our work that we had to do was him making choices around the drinks that he would even choose with his friends, because actually for years and years they expected him to have a pint of beer or cider, or in fact several pints every week, a number of pints. We'll just say, again, it was football. So we play football and then they go for a load of pints as a team. And actually for him, a lot of the work we had to do off season was actually preparing him for how we would deal with on season, and being in a situation where he didn't want to drink pints, he wanted to choose something else that they would deem to be not part of the lads or something separate. And actually what he had to do was actually get himself into the mindset of dealing with that. And actually for a resolution of this, I want to be clear that for some people it's very uncomfortable, like that client of mine. It was uncomfortable for him, as you might imagine, if you're a male watching or listening this. It was quite uncomfortable for him to be in a very male-dominated environment where they're drinking pints of cider, etc. And his choice was to walk up to the bar in front of them and order a gin and tonic. Now, yes, yes, you imagine he did get some judgment from his friends. He got some surprise, etc. And the thing is that he took it. And he took it and he kept ordering the same drink. And eventually they adjusted to his behaviour. Now, I'm not suggesting that if you eat like a bird, you should also eat like a man either, or vice versa. I'm not suggesting it's a switch around of genders with association with food. What I'm saying is that actually either behaviour leads to an outcome that, if you're looking to improve your overall health or your approach to nutrition, actually takes you a little bit further away from that. As I said, those who eat very small, tiny bits in public will always, I'm going to say always, I'm going to stick to it. A majority of the times that I've been working with a client, if a client acts like that, they will always be over-consuming somewhere else. Just because they are, right? And yes, I've labelled it as eating small in public and overeating in private, or binging, or whatever you want to call it, or comfort eating. However, that is what happens. Likewise with the guys, actually, they are always going to overconsume because they see it as part of being the culture. So flipping them from one extreme to another is generally not that successful. The thing is, it is also kind of going to be a response where I say, actually, there's moderation in everything, yes. However, this is why, it's not the only reason why, it's not the only reason why. You will know as clients, if your client's working with us, that we often talk about what it is to have a meal that covers all bases, that is somewhere between the two, right? Now, if a guy is going to go out with his mates and they're all going out to a burger place, it's unlikely I'm going to say to him, order the club salad. It's just not. It's just, I'm going to know that he's in an environment where he is going to feel that he's fitting in as part of his gender role, right, whatever that may be, and he's going to behave in a certain way. So am I going to ask him to behave differently? No. I'm just going to ask him to dial into how he's feeling in terms of hunger and fullness. Likewise, if I have a female client who is going to somewhere with a group of her friends and we're looking at the menu and she suggests something tiny, I'm going to say to her, when else are you eating today? Let's pull something else into that selection. Let's make that meal something that's going to keep you fuller for longer. So then you can do the rest of whatever you're doing with your friends the rest of that day and not be tempted then to overeat somewhere else or overconsume. So the thing is, it's not, again, it's pulling small in one direction or the other, not making vast changes, which I know that all of you are used to hearing us say quite frequently. And we say it frequently because it works, actually. It works, actually. However, it does, right? It does work because we're asking you just to modify your behaviours slightly and take it from one place to another. Now, when I talk about outliers, I talk about that because Kate's saying, oh my God, I'm definitely no lady eater. Okay. But again, though, would I say that whatever either way you eat, if you eat large or eat small, like in Kate's case, it might not be that specific to the gender. Okay, but still, you know what? You know the same rules apply. If you want to be looking towards a healthier approach to nutrition and lose, I'm going to say it, body fat, not weight again, so if you can lose body fat, then yes, some moderation either way, however you approach. But the thing is that I know this because I was always told, I used to go to extremes, right? I used to go to extremes. So for me, salad was all the way, really. Most of the time. And then when I go out in the evening, probably Kate, I'll probably eat like you used to, right? It used to be an all-out war with food, right? But then that's your, like, that the gender aspect towards food is very interesting and it's a very complex thing. And I think part of this as well is to become aware of, as I said earlier, about your own behaviours and also start to observe those around you and start to see it's interesting. There's no hard and fast rule, as I said, but it is all that interesting world of moderation, right? Which is, I know, is a bit middle of the road. However, actually, this is all something that subtly impacts us all from a gender position. And like I said, I think most of it is learnt. So, what did my mum used to say? I'm sure my mum used to say to stop eating, you know, it's not ladylike to eat like that. Most used to go, I'm shoveling it in. It's not ladylike to eat like that. I'm like this. What? What? Can't stop because I'm eating too fast. And yeah, I do have recollections of being told that as a child, that actually you're a girl, eat like a girl. You know, those are things that were definitely learnt in my generation. Now, how much of that is different now would be interesting. It's interesting to see the outcome of that, of a certain couple of generations of women and men who share these behaviours. Because as I said, it's not just women, it is men. And imagine if you are a guy listening or watching this, you will know how to eat big is seen as being masculine or strong. To, like, think of all like the all you can eat challenges, all those kind of things. It's attached to a very male approach to food. And yeah, I'm categorising, and yes, I'm making extremes. And yeah, fair play. Some might disagree with me. I'm not, as I said, it's not right. It's not the same for every single person. There's slight variations on it. However, I'm going to use one end of the scale to give examples of what actually happens. So main thing is just to understand your own behaviours, understand where they come from, and then you can start to adjust where, like, well, with anything. I mean, gender is not really important a lot of the time. However, there is some expectations around it culturally and socially, that's very interesting to observe. We weren't, Kate's saying we weren't about to scoop peas. I had to go on the fork. Did you? Oh, that was horrible. Did you have that? I had that. I had this. Is definitely a generational thing, Kate. Did your parents make you actually scoop it onto the top of the fork as if that was ever possible? Why? Because you weren't allowed to turn it over, right? As we were told, like, you're a lady, eat like a lady, you can't turn your fork over. So you weren't allowed to turn your fork over and shovel it in to get it in to eat as much as possible, because that wouldn't be ladylike. However, you had to have your fork. Oh my God, I wish I had a fork. I want to get a fork and a knife. Oh, I forgot, where's my pencil gone? See, this is what happens when you used to have pencils and lose them. Ah, look, you'd be like that. Is it like that when you go like that? Scoop them? People listening to this is what you're doing. I'm reenacting trying to put peas on a fork. You have to scoop them up on the fork and then try and get them into your mouth without losing them. And you'd only end up with two, if you were lucky. And then I going into this, Kate, did you have the thing where you had to basically poke some onto the end of the fork prongs and then make a little kind of like ledge to keep the other peas on? Interesting though, because what would that teach, right? That was, I don't know, it frustrate the hell out of me. I know that it taught to eat smaller. And you still do it now, Kate. Oh my God, I can't. I need you to come into... Right, Kate, I need you to come to boot camp with a plate of peas. Just sit on a bench. I want to see you eat these peas. Forget that. I'm not going to be honest, Kate. I don't do that anymore. I've broken my bonds of being a lady while eating. That fork is getting turned over. I bet you do it baked beans and all, don't you? This. Can't even. Scoop it. Have you ever got more than 2 or 3 on 2? I don't know. That was the idea, though. That was genuinely the idea. I know that now. I know that now that what my mum was trying to teach me is to eat small and eat daintily and not shovel in, because she would always say, eat like a lady. Yeah, Kate, you eat, oh, God. Oh, wow. The things you remember. Yeah, but that's it. Like that was just how we were taught. I mean, I think it's just also maybe it was just over the stickler for table manners as well, and that's seen as poor table manners to turn your fork over. But yeah, the idea was that I do remember distinctly. Don't shove your food down. You're a lady. Well, not a lady. You're a girl. I was never a lady even as a kid. As you imagine. And sweet corn. Oh, good God, this is getting worse, Kate. And sweet corn. Anything basically small. You're just making rice. I bet you do it with rice. I bet you try and balance rice on the top of your fork. Give it 4 grains of rice at a time. Oh, right. We're never going out to dinner, Kate, because I'll just make you eat. I'll just order everything that's ball shaped. Get it on, Kate. Go on. I'll see you in 4 hours. Right. I'll do my recap now. I've had a laugh about Kate's eating. Is that just during the week though, Kate, or as weekends you just turn the fork over? Come on, admit it. At weekends like this. I'm relaxing this weekend. Right. So I'm talking about eating like your gender and gender expectations. Yes, it's a 20-minute meal. Wow, nicely covered there. And I said, right, I'd say it all the way through. There's always outliers. This is a general sweeping statement, and I'm not saying this is the case for everybody. I use the saying is eating like a bird is generally associated with eating very dainty and very ladylike with a getting your peas on top of your fork and balancing them towards your mouth. That was what I did. I got all the way to close and then get to last minute. It goes, I'm gonna start again. A demonstration of how to eat like a lady with 2 pens. Okay. However, that take that, and that's kind of when it comes to being what you learn as a child. To some degree, there's quite a large couple of generations, a couple of decades really, where you see them as adults, and it's still there as an expectation to eat food in a manner of which applies to their gender. Same as male, to overeat or eat big meals are seen to be masculine, and to eat small meals, tiny dainty things, is seen to be more feminine in some senses. And to mix that in public, sometimes an individual might feel that they're attracting judgment from their peers, or they're not eating as expected, and therefore will be judged for it. I use the example of my client who plays football with his team, and now for him ordering, actually went for vodka and Coke in the end over G&T. He got too much flack for G&T. He went for vodka and Coke, thinking about it. However, he'd been drinking pints of them for years, right? So for him to make that change, yes, they ribbed him. However, he stuck to it because ultimately he had an end goal in mind. And saying again, to repeat, I'm not expecting people to change entirely how they order things. I'm not asking guys to go out and eat salad all the time, or women to go out and eat massive burgers and fries with like, I mean, I'll do it. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that sometimes there is a blend of those two somewhere, where if I'm working with a male client, I'm going to work within what his expectations are with his social setting and his cultural setting, family setting, and just ask some modifications here and there. Similarly with a female who eats small and eats tiny, I'm going to ask her to increase that, just to move away. I'm not asking to go to one extreme to the other, just to find somewhere between the two, if you sense this kind of applies to you, where you're still working towards your end goal and not really being uncomfortable either, or drawing the sense of being judged. Right, fair play to that male client. He went for it. he was going for it, right? It's not true for everybody that they feel as comfortable to do those things all the time. So first thing is awareness, think about small moderation, and secondly, don't ever go out and eat peas with Kate, because you'll be there for more than 20 minutes, Kate. Peas and sweet corn. What would be worse? I don't think anything's worse than... Oh, couscous. Or the giant couscous. Yeah, years trying to have a meal with Kate Goodacre. Balancing food. Right. Ooh. Tomorrow's a photo opportunity. Join me for that one. I reveal no more. Can't believe tomorrow's Thursday already. Look at that. God damn. Right, guys, have a lovely evening. I don't know what happens to the sun. If you are at the boot camp this evening, I will see you there. If not, I will see you on the line tomorrow. Ciao.